Mike, let's talk about sentencing factors. You've thrown out some terms to me and in other private conversations about mitigating versus aggravating. Talk about that.
Well, Jim, with the DWI, it has its own sentencing structure. It's not based on misdemeanor sentencing or felony sentencing or anything like that. It has its own sentencing structure where mitigating, aggravating, and what are called grossly aggravating factors come in play.
What do they mean?
What it means is, if, for example, if you have more mitigating factors than aggravating factors, you're going to be sentenced in the lowest possible sentence. If you have more aggravating factors than mitigating factors, you're going to be sentenced somewhere in the middle. And if you have what are called grossly aggravating factors, you're going to be sentenced the most harshly. There's 5 levels of sentencing: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 being if you have more mitigating factors than aggravating, and 1 if you have more than one grossly aggravating factor.
Let me backtrack for a second and let me put you on the spot. Can you give me an example of a mitigating factor, an aggravating factor, and a grossly aggravating factor? Because you want more mitigating, I understand that. I don't know if that would be like character references or a clean record or something, but go through those and tell me, give me a quick example of each one.
Sure. Mitigate, again, DWI sentencing is different than anything. So character references, where they normally would come into play in sentencing, in DWIs they don't matter. There's certain things that do matter. Examples of mitigated factors are: 1, that you blew a .09 or lower; 2, that your driving was otherwise safe and lawful, other than the DWI, of course.
That it wasn't reckless.
That it wasn't reckless.
Now,
there was no other speeding ticket or anything, but it was otherwise safe and lawful.
Right. What would be an aggravating or a grossly aggravated?
Aggravating factor, if you blew a .15 or higher. That your driving was especially reckless or dangerous, that you're driving without a driver's license, things like that. Now, I do want to be clear, but there's a huge difference between aggravating factors and grossly aggravating factors. Grossly aggravating factors carry with them, if you have any, carry with them mandatory minimum jail time. So a grossly aggravating factor, for example, or a couple of them are: 1, you've had a prior DWI within the last 7 years, or 2, you have your revocation, your driver's license is revoked because of a prior DWI in the last 7 years. If you get either one of those, you're going to be in jail for a minimum of 7 days. And if you have both of those, which we see a lot, you're going to be in jail for a minimum of 30 days and up to 2 years.
Thanks, Mike. Coming up next, more on sentencing.